Hello, all you wonderful people out there. This is the host of the podcast that you are about to listen to. But before we get started, I want to ask you for a favor. I know many of you out there have already liked and shared this podcast on Facebook, and thank you very much for doing so, and please continue to do so. But let's not forget about another way to help this podcast grow, and that way is called word of mouth. That's right, before there was Facebook, there was something called word of mouth. And here's how that works. You listen to the show, then you tell a family member about the show, and then you tell a friend, then you tell a coworker, and then maybe you tell somebody that you go to church with. I really want to grow this show, and I will take all the help I can get. So thank you very much for listening, and now let's get the show started.
Cyberspace astronauts, are you ready to be entertained with pointless jibber-jabber and senseless small talk? If so, then you have come to the right place. It's the Todd Cook Show, starring Todd Cook, and featuring music by local and national artists. Now, broadcasting from his garage, here is Todd Cook.
Hi everybody, and welcome to episode 3-3 of the Todd Cook Show. I am here, you are here, I am talking, you are listening. This is the Todd Cook Show. I am Todd Cook, and thank you for listening to my podcast. At least you have listened so far. You might shut it off before it's over, but for now you are listening. If you weren't listening, you would not be able to hear me say that you're listening. But since you did hear me say that you're listening, that means that you're listening, and you're still listening, and you're still listening, or else you wouldn't hear me say that you're still listening. All right, let's get on with it. On this episode of the Todd Cook Show, I'm going to go through a little bit of a homework assignment that my 7-year-old had, and let you know my frustrations with the school system right now. And also, I'm going to talk to you about the great ocean view that everybody wants, when they buy a house. The closer you get to the ocean, the higher the price of the house is, because they all want that coveted ocean view, and I'm not sure exactly why. I'll explain that in just a few moments. Also, I got some music by Robin Roberts and Billy Preston coming up, and then I'm going to finish this podcast, the last few minutes of this podcast, talking about the 2 hairiest hours that I had just a few moments ago. All right, let's get things started. By the way, my email address is thetoddcookshow@gmail.com, thetoddcookshow@gmail.com. You can listen to this program on youtube.com/thetoddcookshow. You can also find some episodes on iTunes, and you can also go to podomatic.com to find some episodes as well. All right, let's get started with this episode 3-3. That's season 3, episode 3 of the Todd Cook Show. And I'm going to start by reading a little homework assignment that my son had. I'm going to read a short little story, and then I'm going to have you try to answer some questions so that you will understand the frustration that I had. I believe this was Thursday night, or maybe it was last week. I can't remember when it was, but this really rattled my brain and made me almost scream out loud. And for some of you out there, after you do this, you won't think it's a big deal, but I'll explain why it's a big deal for me. All right, here's a little story, and then they'll have some questions afterwards. It's a short story. Here we go. Holly, why did you eat... This story, by the way, is called The Cookie Bandit. Holly, why did you eat so many cookies? Asked Heather. I didn't, said Holly. You must have. I did not, said Heather. Because each girl was sure the other had eaten most of the cookies, they stopped talking or playing together. Later, when Heather walked across the dining room, she almost stepped on a cookie. What is this doing here? She wondered. She walked down the hall and knocked on Holly's door. Holly, look what I found on the floor. On the floor? How did it get there? Asked Holly. I don't know, responded Heather, but we will find out. The girls got 4 more cookies from the jar and set them out on a plate. Then they hid in the closet. Soon, Ed trotted in. He jumped up on the chair, put both front paws on the table, and picked up a cookie. He jumped down and patted out the door with his treat. Heather and Holly laughed. Now we know who the cookie bandit is. So this is a pretty innocent little story about the two girls who think that each other have eaten too many cookies, when in reality they found out that Ed, and we'll talk about Ed here in a moment, that Ed was the one eating these cookies. Now this is a pretty harmless, innocent little story. You say, what could you possibly have a problem with in that little story? Well, here, let me explain this to you. Here's the questions that they asked. The first question is, who are Holly and Heather? And you got three choices. They are either friends, they are brothers, or sisters. All right? Now I want you to think about that. Friends, brothers, or sisters. And I'm going to pause just a moment here. You can rewind this podcast back to the beginning of the story, and I want you to listen to the story that I just read to you again and see if you can answer that question. Are Holly and Heather friends, brothers, or sisters? Go back, listen to the story, and see if you can answer that question. Okay. You went back, you listened. Now, we know that Holly and Heather are not brothers. Their names are Holly and Heather, very uncommon boys' names. Maybe there's some boys out there named Holly and Heather, but those are girls' names, and they are referred to as girls. So we can eliminate brothers. But are they friends or sisters? Go back, go ahead, rewind it, go back and listen to it again. I'm telling you, there is no information in that story that will let you decide to know whether Holly and Heather are friends or sisters. Now, if you read the story closely, it kind of suggests that both girls live in the same house. But not really. They could be friends that are just staying the night, or they could be cousins that are, that spend a lot of time at each other's houses. Both of their names start with H. That's pretty common for sisters. But there is nothing in this story that would for sure tell you if they are friends or if they are sisters. And they're asking this question to a 7-year-old boy, and I'm there, Daddy's there, reading the story to him. Get to this very first question. This ain't the question number 20. This is the first question. The first question. I read the story 4 times. I can't figure it out. How is a 7-year-old supposed to figure this stuff out? And who writes this stuff? Think about that. There is no information in there that you can decide whether they are friends or sisters for sure. Now, some of you out there might read the story, and maybe as you're reading the story, you're just picturing them as sisters. Holly, Heather, whatever the case might be. But you don't know for sure, but you just kind of picture that in your head. So when you get down there, you just say, oh, well, they're sisters. Because that's how you imagine them. But in reality, they never really tell you that in the story. And so to you, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And then others of you might say, well, I guess the story doesn't really say, but oh, well, let's just say sisters. But not me. I can't do that. I cannot set my brain aside. When I read something like this that's meant for a first grader, it's a simple little story, and the very first question is unanswerable. It's like a knife through my head. I can't deal with it. Who are these teachers that are coming up with this? And my son was not the very first person to read this story. I'm sure of it. Maybe this is the first year that his classes used it, but I really doubt that his class is the very first kids in the entire world to ever read the story. So this story has went through many different classrooms, many different teachers, and nobody's ever pointed this out. How does that happen? Are they just randomly asking questions? Why didn't they ask about the giraffe and how tall the giraffe was? You say, well, there was no giraffe in the story. Well, the story doesn't say anything about them being sisters or friends either, but they didn't have any problem writing a question about that. But that's not where it ends, folks. The very next question says, what clues told you who they are? Well, since there are no clues to tell you if they are sisters or friends, how are we supposed to know what clues they are? Now, this is a homework assignment, so I just, at some point, after I about pulled all my hair out, I just said, let's just say they're sisters, and we'll say that they live together. Because the story kind of suggests that, but there's nothing there about them being sisters or friends. But that's not where it ends, folks. That's not where it ends. Go down a little ways farther, and the question is, who is Ed? And the possible answers are A, a little brother, or B, a dog, or C, a cat. Now go back again. Listen to the story. Go ahead. Rewind this podcast. Go back and listen to the story. All right. Now, Ed, is he a We know he's not a little brother because it says he has paws. And most little brothers don't have paws. So we can eliminate he's not a little brother. But how would you know if he's a cat or a dog? Cats, dogs both have paws. Now, you could probably say that cats don't normally steal cookies, but I'm sure there's been some cats that have stole cookies. It could be a ferret, for all we know. Who knows what it is? A guinea pig. I don't know. The guinea pigs might have hoofs or something, but there's no way you can tell if it's a cat or a dog. Who knows what Ed is? And once again, the very next sentence, the very next question, what clues told you who Ed is? And I said, well, he has paws, and we picked dog, just because it had to be done. But this is after 20 minutes of me reading and rereading the story over and over and over. These people must be idiots. They just write questions. They don't think about it. They don't consciously process it. They just write questions. It drove me insane. This is for a first grader, and you say, well, maybe it was supposed to be a trick question. Really? Trick questions for a 7-year-old? Ooh, boy, that must be a challenge trying to trick a 7-year-old. It's ridiculous. I about blew a blood vessel in my brain trying to help my 7-year-old with his homework. It's ridiculous. Put that down. All right, and I need a little moment here to calm down a little bit, so I'm going to play this commercial. But everybody, don't go anywhere. When I come back, I got some more great stuff. You're listening to The Todd Cook Show.
Hey, all you Wichitanians. Hey, everybody from the Wichita area. Have you ever had car problems? Have you ever slid into a ditch? Have you ever needed a tow? Don't waste your time looking for a tow company that you might not be able to trust. Call B&B Towing at 316-214-4021. It is a locally owned family business that can help you. So if you have a car that needs towed or repaired or both, call him. Or if you have a car in a ditch that needs a winch, call Cheyenne Brown at B&B Towing, 316-214-4021. He's a 20-year veteran of the United States Air Force. That's B&B Towing, 316-214-4021.
He called his mother-in-law the wrong name, Todd Cook.
Yes, that is true. I did that once. I was interviewing my mother-in-law right here on this very microphone, and I referred to her as Christine. She corrected me, said that her name was Christina, which I knew that. I don't know why I said Christine, but that's a long time ago. I'll never do that again. All right, folks, the Todd Cook Show at gmail.com is my email address. Be sure to write me an email sometime there and tell me how you like the show or if you don't like the show. No, if you don't like the show, don't write me. It's just a waste of time. I'm not going to read it. So if you don't like the show, don't even write me. But if you do, the Todd Cook Show at gmail.com is my email address. All right, the great ocean view. I said I was going to talk about this, and so here I go. No matter where you live in the United States or even anywhere in the world, the closer, if you're looking for a house, the closer you get to the ocean, in a lot of cases, the higher the property value is going to be. And I was watching this TV show the other day where it had these couples that were looking for a vacation home or maybe a retirement home somewhere, and it was in Florida, maybe one of the Keys or one of the islands off the coast of Florida somewhere, and they were wanting to be close to the ocean. As the one guy kept putting it over and over, I want my sand in the toes, or my toes in the sand. Now, that'd be really close, but I think he just means he wants to be really close to the ocean. And I don't understand this obsession with having a house close to the ocean, having that great ocean view. Now, no doubt, having an ocean view would be better than what I have when I look out my back door or any window in my house. I'd much rather see the ocean than see the street or what we have in the backyard or our neighbors. There's no doubt the ocean would be better. But it's not really high on my priority list for ocean views. And it was crazy. This lady was watching on the show, would go out to a house, and they had a patio on this one house, and she goes out to the house, and she like puts both hands on the sides of her cheeks, and she's like, oh my God, look at that, you can see the ocean. Like she was almost going to cry about it. And they show it, and there's some trees there and some condos here, and between the trees and the condos about a quarter mile away, you can see the ocean. Whoop-de-flippin'-doo. I didn't understand why she's getting that excited over that. Now, if you're right on the ocean, you look out and there's sand, and you have an unobstructed view of the ocean, that's pretty neat. but I still wouldn't be that thrilled about it. What is the ocean? To me, it's a big void. There's nothing there. You look out, it's blue, a little darker blue ocean, or maybe a lighter blue ocean, or gray blue ocean, whatever, and then a different color blue sky. It's like you're looking to nothing. I don't know. It wouldn't be much different than if you're looking on the Salt Lakes, in Utah, where they do all the drag racing and trying to break the sound barrier and stuff like that. Those big ocean or salt lakes that are out there. I mean, it's pretty. It's nice. It's blue, and the ocean waves. It's somewhat soothing, but it's not that great. And then this lady they looked at another house that didn't have a really good ocean view, but there was a little channel that came by. A little channel, maybe, I don't know, 40, 50 feet across or something. It was like a little channel where they could keep the boat that had access out to the ocean. And she, again, got to the back patio and saw that channel. And she, oh, look at that. You can see the water. Like, in this channel, for you, if there's anybody out there listening in the Warsaw or Winona Lake, Indiana area, that's the area that I grew up in. In Winona Lake, they got an island. And I had two friends, actually, that lived on the island there in Winona Lake. And there's this little channel there that separates the island from the rest of the land there. And it looked just like that. It wasn't some beautiful channel. It was just a little channel with some piers and some boats. But this lady, oh, you can see the channel from here. And I don't get it. Like I said, the ocean, to me, when you look at it, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. But it's like a big void. I'd much rather look out, if I want to see a great view. To me, a great view would be, mountains with a little stream and some trees, and maybe you get wildlife that go through it every now and then, a deer that goes by, or some elk, or some rabbits, or something that you can look at and entertain. But the ocean is just a void. It's just blue water. And you know what? The next day when you go out and look at it, you know what it's going to look like? It's going to look like a void. And you go out a third day, it's going to look the same. Every day you look at it, it's going to look exactly the same. Whereas if you have a mountain with some trees and stuff, different times of the year with the foliage and the leaves turning color, and different wildlife might go by, and with the sun at your back or in your front, it might make the mountains look different. It's going to change at times. The grass might be a little taller at times. It might be shorter at other times. It changes. And the same thing, I'd almost rather have a look out my window and see the skyline of a city. Because during the day it looks one way, and at night it looks another way. And there's entertaining. You can look out and see the people walking around, or the cars driving by. And if you get really lucky, maybe you'll see a little fender bender or something. Or if you get really lucky, you might be able to see like a crash. You don't want anybody to get hurt, of course. But at least there's something happening when you look out and you see the city skyline, or the mountain skyline. You see, the wildlife, the changing of the colors and stuff. But the ocean's nice too. But I don't understand why everybody gets so wow over it. Maybe, and then at night, the ocean is just going to be really a void. You look out there, you're not going to see anything. You might be able to hear it. Now, if there's a full moon, you might be able to, see some glimmering moonlight off the ocean, whatever. That'd be kind of pretty. But I don't understand this big, it's a beautiful scenery. Look at the view. I don't get it. I really don't. And, some people say it's like a sense of freedom. What do you live in a closet? I mean, I can go out my back patio and I can look, 2, 3, maybe 400 yards in some directions before I see any houses or trees. And if I really feel like I'm closed in, just look up at the sky. You think the ocean goes out a long ways? Look up to the sky. It goes on for literally millions of miles. So I don't get this ocean view. Now, Kansas or the ocean, I'll take the ocean. And the mountain or the ocean, it depends where the ocean is, how warm the weather is. I might take the ocean too. If it's a mountainous place, I think most places where there's mountains, it's a little cold, especially if you're at a higher elevation. So in those cases, I'd probably rather take the ocean. But the ocean's not this thing where I put both hands on my sides of my face and go, oh, look at that view. My wife would say quite a bit differently. But anyway, I didn't get it. I watched that TV show and I thought, what's wrong with this lady? She's so fascinated by water. What is she, a fish? Okay. Now it's time to play a song here. This song I'm going to play for you is by a local duo here in the Wichita, Kansas area, Robin Roberts and Billy Preston. And the song is called Wichita. I think I've heard about Wichita. Where have I heard that from? Oh, yeah, I live there. So here it is, Robin Roberts and Billy Preston on the Todd Cook Show with a song called Wichita.
Midway, USA, heartbeat of the place. sunset moves me. The beauty of your skyline woos me. Somewhere beyond where the rainbow ends there. Wichita, you river beauty, slow moving easy city, makes me feel somewhere. It's like I belong there. Wichita, the bells are ringing, children laughing, birds are singing. Midway, USA, heartbeat of the plains, blue skies all the day, my home, home on the range. Wichita, your nightlife sways me. Those crazy old town charms amaze me. I feel at ease here. Somehow I'm free here. Wichita, your native spirit dances in the wind. I hear it calling me softly, taking care of me. Wichita, the bells are ringing, children laughing, birds are singing. Midway, USA, heartbeat of the plains, blue skies all the day, my home, home on the range, Wichita.
That's Robin Roberts and Billy Preston, a local Wichita duo. And a funny little story about that. I remember one of the first times I heard them play together, I thought I liked everything about their music. It was really appealing to me. But I remember hearing the lady that was singing in the background, Billy Preston, singing the background vocals. And I thought, man, she's got a really good voice, very good harmonies. And then fast forward to a few weeks or maybe a couple months later, I signed up to take some voice lessons, and lo and behold, there she is. She's the teacher, and so I was right. She's a really good vocalist, and she could sing really good harmonies. So that's Robin Roberts and Billy Preston. You could go to their website at rr-bp.com. Robin Roberts, Billy Preston, rr-bp.com. With that, I got another short little break here, folks. Don't go anywhere. The Todd Cook Show will be right back.
It is 2014, folks, and computers have taken over the world. Well, not really, but they are everywhere. And if you're a business owner, you know how computers can enhance your ability to operate your business. But most likely, you're also familiar with how difficult it can be trying to manage your computer network. Are you having some trouble in the IT department and you need some help? Well, if you live in the Warsaw, Indiana area, you are in luck. Just get whacked. WACD can help. Just go to wacdllc.com and find out how. They can help with network installation, maintenance, security, and more. And they don't just help businesses, they can help anybody. WACD can even help with hardware and software sales and services. And believe it or not, they can help you with many issues even if you don't live anywhere near the Warsaw, Indiana area. As long as you have an internet connection, they can help you fix your computer or install new software remotely. They could even set you up with a brand new PC or Mac. So whether you're a business or an individual, get whacked today. WACDLLC.com. That's WACDLLC.com.
He keeps a collection of dirty socks by his bed. Todd Cook.
That's right, I do. And the sad thing is, just when my collection starts to get really good, my wife picks them all up and throws them down the laundry chute. I don't understand that. All right, I am back, everybody. I got about 5 minutes left on this program, and I'm going to tell you about the two hairiest hours I've had. In this last, it just happened today, a few hours ago. It has to do with giving haircuts to my sons. Now, it used to be that I would take both my boys somewhere and get their haircuts, and I would take myself somewhere to get a haircut once every, 4 to 6 weeks, whatever, to get my haircut. But Johnny, the oldest one, when he was really young, was not very cooperative. He would just scream and cry and wouldn't hold still, and it was just not very good. So every time we took him, we dreaded it. The younger one did a little better. He would cry and fuss a little bit, but at least he'd hold still, and they'd be able to do it. But at some point, I just got tired of going through the ritual. When it was just me, it wasn't a problem. When it was just me and Johnny, still not too much problem. But now there's 3 of us having to go get our haircuts. And at some point, I just got tired of going. And on my own behalf, I got tired of having to, brush my hair in the morning. And before I leave the house, I have to go in the mirror and make sure my hair wasn't all crazy or find a hat or something. So I just decided that I'm going to just start shaving my head pretty close. I use the number 2 clippers on our clippers. I don't know. It's like a quarter of an inch. It's pretty short. And I started doing the same thing to the boys. If we're going to go to a professional and pay, $8, $10, $12, whatever it might be, and the kids weren't going to hold still and they're going to get a bad haircut anyway, why not just do it at home? I can give them a bad haircut. The only reason we took them somewhere is to try to get them a good haircut. But we couldn't get a good haircut, just a bad haircut, and we're paying money to get a bad haircut. So why not just do the haircut at home? So I went out and bought me some good clippers and stuff and started cutting my own hair and Johnny and Jackson's hair as well. And I'd kind of been neglecting it here for the past little while, and all 3 of us were getting pretty bushy and stuff. So this morning I said, it's haircut time. And me and my wife have a little system that we work out here. I cut the boy's hair. I started with Johnny, and when he's done, I send him off to her to go take a shower. He's 7 years old now. We usually just set him up in the shower, and we help him a little bit, and he does a fine job like that. And as he's in the shower, I'm taking care of Jackson, shaving his head, and then I send him in there, and he gets his bath and stuff. And then as he's in the bathtub, I'm standing in front of the mirror shaving my head, and then my wife, Samantha, has to come in and take care of the back of my neck. I can do all of it myself except the back of your neck. And if you've ever tried any guys out there who might cut their own hairs, and by the way, this is a comedian I heard, Adam Carolla, talk about. This is a rich man, poor man thing. Rich men can get their hair cut at home by a professional barber, or a poor man can get their hair cut at home by, dad or mom or wife or somebody. But middle class people, they always go out and get their hair cut somewhere else. But anyway, I can do it myself in the mirror, pretty good, all except the back of my neck. And if you ever try to trim the back of your neck, looking in a mirror, it's nearly impossible. Left is right, right is left, and up is sideways, and sideways is down, and it's very difficult. But had hair all over the living room carpet. And, we could do it in the kitchen where there's tile. Maybe it'll be a little easier to clean up, but not really. With the vacuum sweeper and the carpet, it cleans up just as well. But and plus we can sit the boys in front of the TV and they can watch TV, which seems to help keep them calm a little bit. But I had hair all over the living room carpet, and I had hair all over the bathroom. And then when I got done, shaving my head, I had to shave my face, and it was just hair everywhere. I mean, it was, and there was hair, like I said, on the carpet, in the bathroom, on the floor, in the sink, and then there was hair in the bathtub, and all this. I realized just the other day there was a barber just up the road, less than a mile from our house, that has a big sign out in front, haircut $6. Now, underneath that, it says no hairstyles. So this must be like an old school barber. You go in there, he looks at whatever your hair looks like, and he just makes it shorter. He doesn't do any kind of fancy styling or anything. But $6, so it'd be 6 for me, 6 for Johnny, 6 for Jackson, it'd be $18. But instead, I went through, it was like 2 hours worth of work of doing Johnny's head, Jackson's head, my face, had hair all over the house and all that to save $18. But I think it's still worth it. So I think I'll keep doing it that way, even though it's a pretty hairy thing to do. and we get a lot of hair around, and poor little Jackson spitting, trying to get the hair out of his mouth and stuff because he won't keep his mouth closed, or he won't hold his head up backwards so the hair don't go in there. But anyway, we got it all done today, and it turned out pretty good. And but it was hairy. There was a pretty hairy situation here at the house this morning. All right, that's it for this episode of the Todd Cook Show. Thank you very much for listening. Tune in next week, and I'll talk. You listen.